Hey folks, welcome back to Ed's Garage. Today, a very exciting project for me, and hopefully for you, if this is something that you might have considered doing on your own. I have a 2022 RIVIAN R1T that I'm super stoked to own. Just bought it, just got it last week actually, right on my birthday, which was pretty awesome. Anyway, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to start a project, probably the largest project that I have for this truck. And the reason I'm getting on it so quickly is because I do a lot of off-road camping and I need some place to sleep. So my plan is to make a little camper box for the back. Now, I want to keep this very, very low profile, and I want to be able to still sit up in it relatively comfortable. So when I get changed in here and such, that it works. And obviously it needs to be long enough that I can actually lay in it. This box is only about 4.5 feet long. It's not terribly long. And yeah, I don't fit without putting the tailgate down. So I've got a plan for that. And yeah, we're gonna get started today. But before I get started, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below if you have any suggestions, because I think I might do this in a multi-part video. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, let's see how this goes. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below for different products, different savings. Ed's Garage is a discount code at multiple different companies to save you money. EV Vita for EV accessories, Bodega Cooler for awesome off-road camping equipment like portable refrigerators and such. Amaze Chef for things like induction cooktops and whatnot. So if you own an electric vehicle and you can plug in an induction cooktop, for instance, like a camp kitchen style thing, they have a really, really cool induction cooktop on there that I've done videos on as well. But anyway, I'm gonna get started here, and I'll tell you what we've got so far. All right, so here's the plan. The box itself, the camper box or canopy or whatever you want to call it, it's going to be 4 feet long for its initial section. It's going to stop right here, and then there's going to actually be a pull-out section right in this area here. So when you put the tailgate down, you'll be able to slide the pull-out section to fit the entire length of the box to, like the front of the box to the end of the tailgate. But to start, I've got this 5x4 foot piece of plywood on here. I'm just using 5/8 thick. This should be plenty strong enough. And what I'm going to do is actually just cut out the middle so that all I have is just the frame. Now, obviously, I'm going to be able to use that middle section for another part of this. But it's going to cut out, I'm going to cut this out like this, and then this part will actually be the part that seals to the box rails and to this little lip up here. And I think that's actually going to be the best way to do it. I'm going to have some weather stripping under there to keep it all nice and sealed up. The plan is actually not to use wood for everything. The plan is actually to have a piece of plexiglass going over the top. Now, it might stick out a little bit above the roof line here, but of course then I'll have a kind of a ramp for the air to kind of go over. But yeah, I mean, considering the back is flat and the R1S has a flat back end, not too concerned about aerodynamics there because this thing actually gets exceptionally good range. I'm getting about 503 kilometers. It's about 300 miles roughly of total range when it's in conserve mode. So if I'm going to a location, I would put it in conserve mode anyway. I suspect, you know, with the box on here, I don't know, I'll probably lose, if I had to guess, probably about 50 kilometers. I've been driving EVs for a long time now, so I think I have a pretty good handle on how much I'm going to lose. This is not going to be terribly heavy. I want to be able to lift it off easily. So basically just wood frame, plexiglass over top, and then a wood box that slides out. But yeah, I'm going to do it as light as possible. I've also got some insulation that'll go on the inside walls and such as well. So anyway, next step is to figure this section out and cut it out, and that'll be where I start the video again once that's done. I'm not going to actually show you a lot of time lapses of me actually doing the work, and that's only because it's really difficult to set up the camera every single time, put it in different spots, and quite frankly, I just want to get this done, and I want to listen to music while I'm doing it, and I use my phone to listen to music and to do videos, so, and I can't have music on the video, because then, yeah, I can't monetize. So anyway, let's get started. So I got to figure that out, and I've also got to figure out a way to actually mount it to the little hooks here, to the cross rail mounting points. So, got some ideas. All right, here we go. Okay, let me show you what I got so far here. So, I have this piece of wood cut out. I did make a bit of a mistake. I actually wanted to have a solid piece right here, but it needs to be 5 feet wide and 4 feet tall. And unfortunately, because I cut both of my sheets of plywood already, I don't have a 5 foot length anymore. So I'm going to have to probably do 2 separate pieces there, which is fine. That's not a super structural component anyway. I'll add a little bit, but I'll reinforce it. So the reason this is actually a bit higher than the truck is because now when I sit on something about as high as that battery there, so I can have a little stool in here I could sit on for when I'm changing and whatnot, my head won't hit the roof. So it only needed to be a little bit taller, which is kind of funny. It's actually pretty much the same height as the antenna, maybe a tad taller than the antenna. I've rounded off the corners here, and now I just need to secure these 2 pieces together. I'm going to run a strip of glue on there, maybe put some angle brackets to reinforce that as well, and then maybe some screws up through the bottom. I don't know yet. Haven't determined that part yet. I don't really like putting in screws unless they're like weatherproof screws, and I think I do have some of those, but if I don't, I'll probably just glue it and just use some angle brackets. Those are pretty good. So, but anyway, I will be routering off this edge, both sides. Once this is all done, I'm going to sand it down, obviously, first. And yeah, so wall right here, and that wall will have actually a very large cutout because, oh, that actually raises a good point. Yeah, the bottom's going to be open because I want the sliding piece to slide in and out, right? So yeah, I don't think I'm going to need that 5 foot long piece like I thought. Maybe just the top part, and then I'll just extend the bottom piece. I don't know. I'll figure that out. I'm kind of a, fly by the seat of your pants kind of guy. I do everything as I go, and if I make a mistake, it's whatever. I can use the wood for other things anyway. But so far, if I did make a mistake, it's minor, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, coming along. So this length, basically from here all the way around and to the other side, is within 8 feet, just barely. It's like 7 foot 10 inches, 7 foot 11 inches, around there. So when I get that piece of plexiglass, I'll be able to kind of melt the sides or the corners here and have the plexiglass kind of settle down over the frame. And that's the plan anyway. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, I guess. All right. I'm having so much fun, I almost forgot to record more video. So let me show you where we're at so far. I actually brought it inside. Don't mind the crazy mess going on. I've got 8 projects going on at once. So anyway, here is what we have so far. Now, if you remember, this was the piece right up against the cab. And I've got a couple of the brace bars in here now on both sides. I still need to put another one right here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So lots of roof strength. That's what we're looking for. And then the plastic will kind of sit on top. I'll heat that section up and watch the plastic kind of fold down around the sides. At least that's the goal anyway. Hopefully that works out the way it does in my mind. Aside from that, basically I'm going to cut out a little area there for the slider. And then the bottom of the slider will have really big bristles. And those bristles will kind of just, broom along the bottom of the box. And that's how it'll seal against the bottom of the box. So the bottom of the box is like all over the place. So I'm pretty excited. I think I've got a good plan here, and it's kind of coming together as I work on it. So, I am out of breath though. A lot of getting down and coming up and going down into the garage and cutting and measuring and doing some stuff in the crawl space. I've been using my crawl space as a sort of makeshift work area because I had the truck in the garage and I didn't really have any room to work. But now I've taken the truck out of the garage, so I've actually got some decent room in here to work. Because working down there where it's only about 4.5 feet high, it's not ideal. Anyway, I've got a few pieces of wood here left for the slider. So I'm going to put those 2 other brace bars on, screw them together a little bit, and then I can cut out the hole for that thing. All right. I have thrown the thing on the truck here. Reason being is because I need to measure how big the pull-out box is going to be, where it's going to start, where it's going to stop, etc. I threw this piece of plywood on top for now because I wanted to get an idea of just how high it was when I was sitting on something. So the plan is to, of course, have my bed in here, but then I really want to have, I don't know, some sort of like walking space or something like that. Not walking, but like crouching or sitting right next to it. So maybe I'll have like a little bench along here or something like that. So anyway, yeah, I think my bench is going to be a little bit lower because I'll probably have a little cushion on it as well. It's not going to be very high. But yeah, I gotta hunch over a little bit here, but it's not too bad. And of course, I am going to have that insulation here as well. So yeah, about there I think would be about that. A little hunched over. That's okay. I think this will work pretty good. I might actually do a little skylight. I mean, that'll be pretty easy to do. I'm going to have likely a vent in one of the corners here that I can open and close for some fresh air. Maybe have a little fan or something. But yeah, anyway, so got some lights in here. They're along here, and there's one on that side as well. And of course the air compressor, which, I mean, I'm not going to be using an air mattress anyway, but what's really nice is I've got two 120 volt power outlets there. So that's going to be super handy, especially when I've got a heater in here, because I will need a heater in here. It's going to be cold because I'm planning on camping in the winter. The reason I have this little ridge all the way around is because the plan was to have sort of like shelving kind of in here. But obviously I can't go too crazy because it's not very big. So, but yeah, next step is to figure out what I actually need to cut out of this back wall. Sorry, I've zoomed in here, apologies. Because yeah, this has to be cut out for the slider to go in and out. And the plexiglass is going to come down here, of course. I am going to put a piece of wood along here to just reinforce this. In case you're wondering how I'm actually connecting all the pieces together, I decided not to use L brackets everywhere. I have one in either of the back corners just for a little bit extra strength. But this is all glued and screwed and nailed, actually. And yes, the screws I'm using are capable of rusting, but everything's going to be painted, so it should cover that all up quite nice. I'm going to put a little bit of fill over the screw heads and then paint it anyway. So I'm also going to put a window here because I want to be able to use my backup camera, or my box camera rather, to see inside of here when I'm driving. And then the box, the door, will likely have a window in it as well. So maybe use that camera a little bit through that back window. I don't know. And then I might do windows on the side. I haven't really figured all that out yet, but that's pretty minor stuff in the grand scheme of things. Right now, it's just a matter of get the structure together and make sure that it actually works. All right. Well, it's getting late and I'm running low on supplies. I'm completely out of wood glue, so I need to stop for the day, but let me show you what I've got so far. So you already saw the main structure put up on the truck. Then I started working on the extending piece. So this is what that looks like. Now it's laying on its sort of front side right now. So basically this is where the door would go. So I need to have a relatively decent sized door there. So I need a hinge as well, actually. I just remembered to put that on the list. This piece right here is basically just structural. It's going to hold that bit together. And then the plan is to actually, you see I did this around here. I'm actually going to use, I'm thinking of using corrugated plastic over that top bit there. It's very, very lightweight. It's fairly durable. And really all it needs to do is keep the rain out. But I like the idea that it'll offer a little bit of light inside the cabin. The only thing I'm not sure about is how much heat I'll lose through that. So the one thing about corrugated plastic though is it does actually have a little bit of insulating quality because it's full of air. So maybe that'll help a little bit. Or maybe I'll do a couple layers, I don't know. The other thing is I am going to put foam on the inside, but the high density foam that I have doesn't really bend. So yeah, I haven't figured that out, but I haven't figured that part out yet either. So anyway, so tomorrow I'm going to glue this piece on because it's not on yet. And then I'm going to put it up against the back here and trace out the actual cutout that I need after I get roof on there, because if the roof sticks out a little bit, then yeah, it needs to stick out a little bit. I need to figure out how I'm going to seal it up here. Now that's actually one of the reasons why I made this round, so that rain will just run off on the sides. There is a slight downside that may cause issues, and that is that the rain will come down the sides here, land in the box on the edges, and I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go. I would hate to wake up in the morning and have, you know, the bottom of the box soaking wet. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to get around that problem. Yeah, I don't know. This is a prototype, I guess. So anyway, I'm going to stop for now, and I guess you'll see me tomorrow. Okay, well, it's the next day. It's the end of the day. I'm about to clean up, but let me show you what I've got so far. So today I managed to go get some really cool supplies, and some were free, some were not. So to give you an idea, I got some of this corrugated plastic here from work. It's from old signage that was no longer needed for anything. So yeah, I've got the slider very close to completion. Check this out. Here it is. So I've got a little door. I still got to put a little handle and stuff like that in there, but check that out. And I've got it completely covered up in the corrugated plastic. Unfortunately, the corrugated plastic was folded in a few spots, so it's not perfect. You can see a weird line there and a weird line there. And that did make it really difficult to get it on here properly. It's actually all sealed up with construction adhesive, as well as the staples, obviously, so I'm not worried about it leaking or anything. So I do, however, need to put an inner sort of catch or whatever along the inside frame of the door, so the door has something to butt up against and seal up against. But yeah, check this out. I'm gonna show you how quote unquote easy it is to get in. I'll set the camera up on the other side. Hi. Come on in. Yes. Okay. All right. So there we go. So basically, I can actually crouch in here fairly regularly. As a matter of fact, if I had a stool in here, I could even sit. But that's not the point of this. This is just the pass through, and it's basically where my feet are going to end up. The majority of my body is going to be further in the main structure. So this doesn't need to be super strong either, which is why I don't mind the corrugated plastic. It just needs to keep the rain out. That's sort of all it needs to do. So this right here is going to be protected. I'm going to basically take a pool noodle and go all the way around so that when I'm going through it, I'll bang my head into it. But as you can see, I can make my way through pretty easily. Now the keen observer may notice the the Hyundai Santa Fe on there, but that's okay. All right, so that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Oh, also, I got the plexiglass, or well, it's not plexiglass, it's Lexan, it's polycarbonate, and it's 1/8 of an inch thick. It's not super thick, but even still, it's pretty durable. So as I'm holding it right here, you can see it is quite bendable. This stuff is actually really cool. Apparently, you can cold bend this stuff. You can literally almost fold it, and if you fold it to a certain point, it'll remain folded at that, or slightly back from that, so you kind of overfold it. Of course, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to wrap it around this bend right here. So I'm going to sit it on top, and then I'll use some heat to hopefully kind of help it flex downwards. But in any event, it's 10:15 now. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed, so I'll see you tomorrow. All right, it is a couple days later. Merry Christmas. Today is Christmas Day. So we've already opened all our presents and everything. We celebrated Christmas this morning and whatnot. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I've decided to tackle this. So this is ending up to be a little bit more complicated than I thought. Hindsight being 2020, what I should have done is actually make the entire structure, the frame, 3 feet 11 inches, and left 1 inch to spare to kind of trim off the plastic when I put it on. So reason being is because when I kind of bend this down, as you can see, it's not lining up right now. Obviously, I got to bend down the other side, but even if I bend it down in the middle, you know, at some point, regardless of how I kind of line things up, it always looks short on one side. And I couldn't figure out what was going on because I squared it all off. You can see here I've got some braces in there to kind of keep everything square, and it's still not working. So what actually is happening is, I think the other side, the measurement from bottom to all the way around to the top, I think is longer. So I think because one side, the plastic has to stretch over more than the other side, it's kind of off-kiltering everything a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the plastic off again. I've only got one screw kind of holding it in place right now. This is Lexan, so you can actually drill holes in this, screw into it, cut it really easily. It's good stuff. So I'm going to take it all off, and I'm going to measure with a fabric measuring tape. Here is a little easier to do with one of these than it is with a tape measure. I'm going to measure the perimeter and see if it's the same, because if it's different, that would explain why I just can't seem to line it up properly. So I'm going to do that next, and yeah, hopefully it's not too far off. If it's off a little bit, I can grab my planer and just plane around the outside, like the top edge, the sides or whatever, and just kind of try to make it as close as possible. It's not far off. I'm down to like maybe a 1/4 inch difference. What I can do actually, which would be a really easy fix, is just run a piece of wood up from here to here, and then do that kind of all around. Maybe just the sides actually, because the top is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. And that way it won't matter if it's tucked in a little bit. It won't look spectacular, but I can just get some like corner molding or something, and I don't know. I can make it look good. I know that much. It's just the way it is not working. So, you know what? I think I'm actually going to just do that, because that gives me a lot more surface area to adhere the plastic to the structure. Like I said, guys, I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants here. So whatever I can do to make this a little bit easier is definitely something I'm gonna do. So, all right, so I'll get on it, and it's only a little bit extra weight. It's only 4 pieces, so pretty easy fix. Yeah, I'll do that. That's a good idea, Edward. Good job. All right, moving on. All right, well, I'm back. I've measured it, and I'm very proud to say it is identical, right down to the 1/16 of an inch. It is literally exactly 89 5/8 from one edge to the other edge on both sides. Identical. So my hypothesis was incorrect. Yeah, weird. And then, yeah, as far as squaring this up, this has been interesting as well, because I can't seem to get this to square up. Now, from at the bottom edge, it's exactly 4 feet, no problems there. Yeah, don't worry about this bend, because that actually doesn't make any difference at all. Well, if it does, it's like a millionth of an inch. It's exactly 4 feet across the bottom, exactly 4 feet across the top on all 4 corners. Yet, when I square this side up, that side goes out of square. When I square that side up, that side goes out of square. And we're talking, you know, just a tiny little bit. It's not that huge. So I am at a loss to understand this. So I think I'm just going to go back to that plan that I came up with in the last clip here and just run some little supports up there. So it doesn't really matter if it doesn't quite make the end. It'll still screw on, seal up nicely, and ultimately it'll give it a little more structure anyway. So I will be putting ones across the bottom here as well, like a little stand-up bit there for a bit more adhesion. Yeah, I'm probably going to use actually these pieces for that. So I'm going to have to take those out again. All right, let's go. All right, so after some more messing around, I managed to finally get this perfectly centered. And as a matter of fact, even when I put the sides down, it all lines up almost perfectly within 1/8 of an inch on all 4 corners. So super happy about that. I realized, I don't know if I was doing anything wrong before necessarily, but I started squaring it off from the top down instead of from the bottom up. And for whatever reason, that made a difference. I managed to finagle it to a good position. So I'm ready to heat gun the heck out of this and see it fold over the edges. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, so I've gone ahead and exposed one side of the plastic here. Now, hopefully it doesn't get so hot that the protective film melts on the other side. I don't think it will. I'm just going to heat from the top down here. It's kind of handy that I can actually see this piece of wood underneath, because that is basically our starting point. Just got to go back and forth with the heat gun here and hope to heck that it actually starts to settle down perfectly. Here we go.
"75 years later."
All right, here's where we're at. As you can see, it's somewhat bent. As I was going along, I kind of learned the best way to do it. So this section is like perfect. Here it's a little warbly. Over here, it's probably not bent enough. Well, it's enough because, I mean, this is all going to get screwed down anyway. But I think this will do. So now I need to flip it over, put it on a piece of tarp or something, and paint the inside. I'm hoping to have it painted to the point where I can actually apply it tomorrow. So I need to paint this, and I need to seal up the edge of the plywood that it sits on, and then I'm going to run a bead of sealant in between that and the plastic so that it's sealed. And then I'll also seal up the inside corner as well, because I really don't want this to leak, obviously. This was not hard. As you saw in the video, I started off waving the thing back and forth here, and I could not get it over about 90 degrees Celsius. I used my thermal imaging camera to figure out what the temperature was that it got up to. And you need to get this up to about 140 before it starts to become pliable. So what I ended up doing was I put my knee up against it like this, and then I did small sections at a time and basically made my way across. And then I finally started to get a bend in it. And over here, as you can see, I mean, it really started to go well. This part right here is just beautiful. Unfortunately, I'm not sure exactly what happened here, but it's a little wavy, unfortunately. But that's okay. I don't think anybody will notice. I don't want to reheat it or anything. And quite frankly, once it goes over and it's had a couple of, hot sunny days to kind of heat up, cool down, I suspect that might go away. Maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and lay out a tarp and some rags or something so that I don't damage this side of it. And I'm going to start the spray painting. Hopefully, the spray paint sticks. Apparently, the spray paint that I bought, it's, what is it called? Oh, I got some here. Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch 2x Ultra Cover. And it says it also bonds to plastic. Apparently, it will bond to plastic even if you don't sand it first. And apparently, you don't need primer either because this is paint and primer together. So, hopefully this goes really, really well. Now, the other thing I'm worried about, of course, is when I go ahead and put this down on here, obviously I got to be concerned about the wood on the inside scratching it, which is why I want to put a layer of sealant on there. And the sealant will actually, I'll let it dry so that when I squish it down, I'm not squeezing sealant out everywhere, but also the sealant act like a little barrier in between, like a gasket almost, to hopefully stop it scratching the paint from the inside. I'm thinking what I may do is get some plastic protection film, the same stuff that you put on cars, like vinyl, and kind of doing a vinyl covering on this as well, and that'll help eliminate the potential for scratches in the future. So, anyway. All right, the first coat is on. It looks like the plastic is almost flat here, but just keep in mind it's laying under its own weight right now, obviously. Yeah, you can see the bend right there. That was the perfect side. The rest of it's just slightly bent. In any event, I forgot to put a window. I was going to put a window on both sides and I got to the middle of spray painting. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot a window. So I have one. And in hindsight, I actually don't mind. One window is going to be just fine. It just means less to cover up. It just means that I won't be able to look out one side of the canopy, which, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's going to be a window in the door as well. So, yeah, it looks pretty good. I got to give it 20 minutes or so, and then give it another respray, and get it to a point where I can't really see through it anymore. Although that actually won't matter too much either, because this is the stuff that's going to go on the inside. And I was thinking, hey, maybe I'll spray paint that too. And then I noticed right here where I shot a bit of spray paint, it's eating into the styrofoam. So I should have known that actually, that this paint would damage the styrofoam, because I've used the styrofoam before, and before I used it, I actually researched what to coat it with before spray painting it. And you know, I was successful that time, but this time I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, I'll just use the styrofoam as a place to put the plastic, and place to kind of catch the overspray. And yeah, this stuff's all dry though, so it's not going to damage it anymore. If you do decide to spray high density foam, you have to start with an extremely light coat, and then do another extremely light coat, and you just slowly build up. You do like 5 or 6 coats, and you might get lucky and not destroy your styrofoam. But it's not really recommended. There's other things you can do to coat it first and then spray paint it. In any event, I'm not spray painting the styrofoam. I'm just leaving it the way it is. Well, I am spray painting it, but not intentionally. In any event, yeah, I'm going to go have some dinner, and then I'll do another coat. All right, well, there you go. I think I did 7 coats, I believe. It's a lot of coats, but I can even still see the last pass, which I went in this direction. It took a lot of coats to get this covered. I think it's going to look really good. The cool thing is that as long as the first coat goes down really nicely, you don't really have to worry too much about dust and flies landing on the inside, because the first coat is the coat you see. So yeah, I suspect it's going to look really good. Speaking of flies, I think that's one right there. But I got to get out of this garage. It is super painty in here. I should really wear a mask, but I didn't. So there's that. Yeah, now I gotta let it sit for an hour and a bit to sort of partially dry to the touch so I can move it, and then I can get started on the rest. All right, it is day 3. Yes, I'm wearing the same clothes. They're dirty. Get over it. Okay, so I've got some progress here. Let me show you what I got. I've actually done quite a bit today already. Check this out. So I've got it right set up again. This thing I'm kind of holding off for a little while. I'm working on this now. As you can see, parts of it are sprayed because those are parts I'm not going to be able to get to very soon. I've actually sprayed the edges of everything just for some good water sealant. And I lucked out and found, I was thinking about this because originally my plan was to put some silicone on there, let it dry a little bit, and then use that. But I actually had this rubbery kind of weather stripping in my crawl space for, I don't know how long. And then this is the stuff that you would kind of put between 2x4 like walls, like framed walls, and a concrete base. And I'm going to put that, I've put that here using some contact cement, and that'll actually just kind of stop the paint from getting scratched as it gets put down. And then I also found this stuff here, which is like a window sealant, and I just kind of squished it on there. And the reason I did that there is because this kind of comes down at an angle, and then it kind of goes to a right angle, it goes vertical. So the window is going to kind of come out, and it would stick out over that and have to bend it around that corner. So rather than bending it around the corner, I put that stuff in there, and it'll kind of just cinch up against it. So the glass, or plastic rather, is ready to be put on now, and I'm just going to screw it down onto this stuff. and then I'll seal it from the inside. So I'm not worried about the water necessarily intruding through this. This is rubber. It's going to squish down really nice and tight. Should work out really, really well. So, third day of the build, and I'm about to put the roof on. I'm very, very excited for this moment. So, I'm going to get some help from my wife, lift this off, put it onto this thing, and then very slowly start screwing it down. I say very slowly because it's very, very crucial to make sure that as it goes down, it stays aligned properly, because it's really easy to mess this step up. So, wish me luck. Here we go. Okay, so as you can see, one side is pinned down. Oh, that took a little bit of work. Now, the other side should be a little easier because the bend is already pretty good, especially on this side here. But yeah, top's pinned down, sides are pinned down. I do need to add more screws, obviously. I'm going to do roughly, one every inch and a half. And I do actually have an idea to cover this up. I'm just going to get some automotive trim and just stick it on here. This is, being plastic, it should stick really, really nicely. So I actually have some. I'm just not sure if it's enough for it. And it is silver, or chrome, and I'm not too fond of chrome. So I might use that just because I am trying to keep this price down on everything here. I'm finding a lot of things that I already had that I'm trying to reuse. So if I can use that, then I will. If I don't have enough, then I'll just get some black stuff to put over that. That should help for some waterproofing as well, because water might eventually squeeze its way through these screws. So, all right, I'm not going to videotape the next set because it's pretty much exactly the same, but I'm going to get on that and get it done. All right, the roof is on. It's all screwed down everywhere, all the way around. I mean, obviously I got to put some more screws in, but I actually ran out of screws, so I'm going to have to go buy some first. But I had enough to just get it all kind of placed in place. Now, the plastic is a bit too long, so I do trim it off on the bottom. The window turned out pretty good, though. It's funny, where the defect was in the bend here, it's kind of interesting. The paint kind of messed up. And as a matter of fact, if I go to the side here, it's a little bit more visible. So not really too concerned about it. I think what's actually happening is those are the spots that are pushing against those sort of top rails. And it's just kind of worked down the paint a little bit. And the same thing happened right here, but it's really, really minor. Again, not terribly concerned about it. It still looks pretty good. So next step is to, flip this thing up on its end so that I can shave off those little bottom pieces there. And of course, I got to put all the rest of the screws in it as well. That should be pretty quick. So I can't find my trim, so I'm probably going to have to buy some. That's okay. This will do for now. All right, here is where I'm at. As you can see, I have cut out this beautiful little section here. Oh, I see a little bit of ink I need to spray paint over. And I've just basically kind of sprayed over the top edge here. This is by no means finished. Before I go put the stripping on there, I'm gonna sand this down and actually paint it properly. Right now, I'm just trying to get it functional because I want to use this camping this weekend. I have also installed one of the styrofoam panels. It's just pressure fit in there. Didn't need to glue it or anything. Just it fit really tight, and I was able to kind of whack it all the way in there, all the way around. So I'm going to do the same thing with that side. That might be a little more difficult just because there's a really, really thin spot right here that obviously doesn't really need to be there, but I'm going to put it there anyway. Hopefully that tiny little bit doesn't have a problem. Might just, I don't know, glue it on or something there. Yeah. So that's essentially what I'm working on right now. So yeah, I had it up in the truck bed, put this up against it, cut it out, and now it's good. Now, I took a picture when I had it up in the truck bed. I shared it with my friends, and nobody said anything, but I knew what they were thinking. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it is very functional. And that's really what I was going for with this design. I tried to make it look as decent as possible, but keep in mind, you know, this is DIY. Like, I'm not a professional canopy builder by any means. So the plastic is going to be great at keeping the water out. That is the main thing with the plastic on the outside. This is perfectly square, whereas the box is not. The box actually tapers a little bit, and you'll see that when it's put on. You'll be able to see kind of the black edge of the rails of the box. But you know what? That doesn't bother me either. So, well, it doesn't bother me. It's going to bother somebody. Somebody's going to point it out and go, "Oh, this is not the same." Whatever. I don't care. I just need it to look half decent and be functional. So, in any case, I'm going to continue on with the styrofoam installation. All right, time for another update. So, yeah, this is all insulated now. Well, except for the door and I guess the inside of the door here, but I think I got maybe just enough left. So yeah, those are up there. That kind of annoyed me. I had to use a piece of corrugated plastic to hold that in place, but I'm going to get eventually some corrugated plastic and just go all the way around here, also covering that up. Also got the door painted, and I put the little door catch in there. So that's it for that one for now. Now, up here, I have insulated all the walls, as you can see here. Now, this is a little bit loose, but that's okay. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do here. I guess I'm going to put a frame or something in here, and then somehow adhere it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe glue it to the inside of the window, and then put a frame around the outside as well so it doesn't look stupid. But each one of these panels actually has inch of foam in the background, in the back behind it, and I've got all these little tiny pieces left over, so I jammed them all in there, kind of played Tetris to get those all in there as best as I could. And then I got a little bit left, which will hopefully work for the other piece. So that's what I'm working on right now. Yeah, it doesn't look beautiful, but again, that's because I'm trying to make use of inexpensive materials. Keep this all under $1,000, as I mentioned before. So right now, basically what I'm doing is cutting out this piece here to fit in the back. And because there's nowhere to staple it on like there is with the other ones, I'm going to put screws straight through into the back, obviously not going all the way through. It doesn't take a lot of effort, or it doesn't take a lot of pressure to just hold it there. Yeah, I'll get that done. Hey, welcome to day 4. All right, let me show you what I got here. So, I have changed the shape of these. They were about 1.5 inches longer, and they were a closed loop, so I've converted them into hooks. They're going to be used to actually cinch down the 4 corners. As you can see, I've also put a little hole up there, this little vent. It's actually, you know what, let me show you here. I had to drill, this is going to be a tight squeeze. Let's see. Oh dear. Let's see here. Yeah, right there. I just realized something. Yeah, should be okay, I think. Water might get in there from the roof line. Didn't even think of that. I think it'll be all right though, because it actually goes down here anyway. So hopefully that's not a problem. Here's hoping. Anyway, as I was saying, so yeah, about to cinch those down. Let me show you how this is going to work. So in here, there's a hole, and this goes down through the hole, and then it hooks onto that little bit right there. So I'm going to get all 4 sides cinched down, and I'll show you how that works. Now, obviously, that hole is too big for this little bolt to stop, so I got some washers, which are also not big enough, but that's okay. I got an idea. All right, I'll be back. All right, the complete thing sits in the bed of the truck. It's not quite done yet. As you can see, there's a nice giant gap all the way around this, but that's because I need to actually install, well, it's going to always have this gap until you pull it out. Then it's going to seal up along the backside. But this is how it slides out. Let's check this out. All right, open the door. So I was going to put handles on here, but I realized I can just grab this 2x4 and slide it out. All right, right about there. Okay, I've done quite a bit since my last filming. Waiting for Amazon to drop off little door sweep brushes that I can put all along the bottom of this thing to keep the water out and the wind out and the dust out, etc. They're supposed to be coming in today. I'm also waiting for my little heater. But I'm pretty sure it's as done as it's going to get for now. I don't think I have anything else I can do. So let me take you on a little tour here. So here's what we got. All right. So I've gone ahead and I've put in the little backing piece that hits this part here, and there is some weather stripping in there. Unfortunately, it's stuck to just wood, so I don't know how long it's going to last. I'm probably going to have to pull it off and redo it, but only because the weather strip doesn't stick all that well to wood. I can kind of see it peeking out in a few different places here, like right here. So I just tucked it up again. But it should be fine for one camping trip. I'm not worried about bugs right now because it's winter. So yeah, it's got silicone all along there as well. I installed these 2 pieces to kind of take up the gap here. As you can see, I still have a little bit of a gap in there, but that's where a brush is going to be anyway, so it should be fine. And yeah, let's have a look inside here. I've gone ahead and thrown a mattress in just to make sure it would fit. I've also put in this little thing right here, door stop and door latch, so I can lock it. All right, let's get in. So I figure there's 2 ways I can get in. Either I can go up on my knees here and get in that way, or I can just kind of reverse sit into the thing as well. So that actually works pretty good. There we go. So there is plenty of room to lay down. Oh, this is the first time I've laid down today, obviously. As you can see, I have a little fan right there. I just got the cable running down into the socket here. That's where the heater is going to be plugged into as well. A little protective thing right there. And, oh, see that? That's just peeking out a little bit there. So this thing kind of moves around a little bit. This is actually a secondary piece that I put in the corner. I kind of double sealed it there just to be on the safe side. But, yeah, because it moves around, I want it to have a little bit of extra, some on this side as well. Here's just kind of a mess of seals just because it's really tough to seal that section up. Not even sure if those are going to last, so I might, yeah, this one's already coming off. So I might just bring some of this stuff with me. It's only a one-night camping trip, and this is just a real kind of test to see how things go. Here you can see I've secured it to the bed, so that actually went really well. And yeah, that's it for now. As you can see, lots of room. This should be perfectly acceptable for camping. Oh, and then I also hung my little camp light right here, just from a screw. And I can get to that pretty easily and turn it on and off. There's a button there. So, I'm tired. Oh, just realized I don't have the microphone. Apologize. I just went right ahead and started filming. All right, so we're going to end the video there. I'll finish off here, though, with a little tour of everything now that it's all done. You can see here we're in the beautiful wilderness of British Columbia. But yeah, let me show you how this works. All right, so first we're going to go back here. Whew. Everything's covered in snow. All right, got my little 3D printed door handle all done. So I got a few things I got to take out first. Okay, so we brought 2 mattresses, because it's my wife and I today. Normally I would just put one in there, but this way we can both sleep in here, which is nice. All right, there we have it. So it's all set up and almost ready, but let me show you a little bit what we got here. All right, so as you can see, I have my heater right there, a little ceramic heater. It's plugged into the bed outlets. And I got a little sliding window, just like that. And over in this corner, I have a lantern hanging. And yeah, plenty of room for 2 people here. Well, most 2 people anyway. There's only one thing I still got to put in. There we go. That's right, I installed a projector. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And comment below if you have any suggestions as to what I can do differently with this cool little canopy. Thank you so much. Until next time, take care.